his reasons for doing things. And you don't know. You don't. I mean, you have something happen in history, and it may take 200 years for it to roll its way out, and to see what comes from it. And this vital perspective to personal growth and personal fulfillment starts in this Siddur. It carries through in many Siddurim and many aspects of many of the parts of the Torah that we learn. But the first piece is we're confronted with in Parshas LECH-LECHA, and the Gemara says that the first thing you need to understand is that you were created in order to toil. And if you're going to toil in Torah, so you'll toil less with making money, but you're born to toil. And what toil you end up with, and this is so hard to get across to anybody, the toil that you end up with is ultimately designed by yourself. It's an extraordinary, does that mean that you necessarily want those results? Do you think Avraham Avinu wanted that when he got to Canaan that there should be a famine? He didn't want that there should be a famine. But he doesn't go to bed and lament his bad fortune that's happened, doesn't question why God did it to him, doesn't question where was God at that particular point of time. What he questions is, what is there for me to do now? Now, that is the key to understanding this dilemma. The question that you and I have for ourselves is not, why is God doing this? Although you're encouraged to try and understand it. And the Gemara says that if things are going wrong for you, one of the things you have to do is to check your deeds, because you're bringing a bad destiny on yourself because of what you're doing. But that's not the main game. The main game is to understand that the toil that you feel forced to endure is actually a present. So why is it a present? So the Rebbe goes on to explain an incredible thing. He explains that what is it that you can give to another person? What's the most precious thing you can give? Your children or your grandchildren. What's the most precious thing you can give your children? So some people say money, some people say security, some people say safety.
Probably education.
Some people say education. What's the most precious thing to yourself?
Yes.
If you give of yourself to your children or grandchildren, really of yourself, it's the most precious gift you can give them. Hashem is, by definition, the creator. The thing that is most the property, that you can't really talk about a property for God, but the most, to get it into baby language, if God is a creator and he wants to share of himself with his humanity, then the biggest present he can possibly do is to make them into creators. And we create out of toil. That's the mantra, that we create out of toil. That's the formula. Toil is the springboard for achievement. And that when that achievement, let me give you a mad example. Let's take the universe. The universe is working beautifully, all in order. The planets are all going around, the stars are all 4 billion galaxies. You're a student of microbiology, you know that on your arm there are millions and billions of microbes, all knowing what they're doing, all going around doing whatever they're doing. sperm somehow or other incredibly finds its way to a woman's egg, fertilizes the egg. You don't have anything to do with that. I don't have anything to do with that. All of this is orchestrated and run and done by God. And yet, in all of this, nothing in creation creates anything. Nothing creates anything. Horses don't create cities. Music isn't written by donkeys. But we humanity, look at the globe. We humanity have progressively, year after year, Rosh Hashanah after Rosh Hashanah, built cities, built technology, built buildings, built music and drama and literature and language and wisdom. We've learned to exchange ideas. We are creators. That's all at Gashmias level. But the real game is to be a creator at the spiritual level, where you're creating harmony and where you're creating goodness, and where you're creating children and generations that thrive in living together in peace and harmony and benefiting each other. And this toil is the springboard for this. Okay. L'chaim. Then there's a spiritual level to this creation. Look at what Am Yisrael have achieved through learning Torah and doing mitzvahs. We have invented looking after the sick. We've invented tzedakah. We've invented caring for other people, prioritizing other people's needs over our needs. And the world's, not all of it, Hamas, Yamak Shemoy and Hatzalah don't understand what we're talking about, but a lot of people do. How many people do? How many non-Jews give tzedakah today? In fact, of the billionaire world, they've learned tzedakah wonderfully from us. 5 minutes ago, they belonged to a religion that said neither a lender nor a borrower be. And they seriously believed that charity was an evil. They've learned from us. So there's a real building going on, and that building that is going on, not only in Gashmias, but much more specific, much more importantly in Ruchnias, is how we build a Dira B'Taktoim, how we build a dwelling place for Hashem in this physical world. And we do that by increasing the light of spirituality, by learning Torah and doing mitzvahs. And it's toil. It's toil. It's not, to put on film every day is how many people put on film and realize that you're binding your arm and your physical strength to God, and your head and your intellect and your understanding, you're binding to God. Most days you come in and you put on your tefillin, you make the bracha, you daven 1, 2, 3, and you suddenly, oh look, I'm already up to Aleinu, But notwithstanding that, you're still doing it, and every time that a Jew does a mitzvah, he is increasing light. Whether you perceive it or not, it is irrelevant.